Welcome back to another video, you guys. We're going to be talking about emotional hurt today. When you go through a breakup, when someone betrays your trust, when you start to feel unsafe, like, can I really trust the people that are around me? It's a very tough moment to go through. And if you're going through that, I'm so sorry, because it really is so tough. And yet, I'm so excited for you, because as you're going to see in this video, I'm going to share with you really the pros and cons of going through this hurt, but I'm going to really emphasize the gifts and what you're truly gaining going through this hurtful time. Now, before I get into that, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. My name is Brett Bailey. For those who don't know me, I'm a men's coach, and I help men master their emotions, create purpose in their work, and create real depth in their relationships. And today we're going to be talking about what it looks like to get hurt and why you get hurt. Why is it so painful, right? I was asking ChatGPT, I'm like, why the hell is it so painful? Like, why does it have to hurt so much? Can we just go without the pain? Can we experience love without the pain? If someone betrays us, why can't we just move on? If someone leaves a relationship with us, why can't we just be okay instantly? And there's a few reasons for why it's very difficult to do that. And it really just comes down to, as I'm going to share in a second, what it means to be human. You know, if you're going through hurt right now, or if you're realizing that you may have hurt somebody else, recognize that we're all human. We're messy, things hurt, things are confusing. We give so much to someone, sometimes they don't give it back, or vice versa. We take more than we, like, it's messy to be a human. It's messy, okay? So please, let's just start with some compassion for you, because you deserve it. We all deserve that level of compassion, because, you know, none of us really know what's going on. We're out here in this crazy universe. We're falling in love, we're getting hurt, we're trusting, we're getting betrayed. It's a messy experience, okay? So we kind of got to accept that. But what I want to start with is we're going to go into really what are the two primary causes of you feeling hurt? Like, why are you getting hurt like this? Why is it that you're getting hurt? And then we're going to go into basically a few positive things about you getting hurt, which I know sounds weird. However, it makes so much sense if you think about it. And then I'm going to clear off this whiteboard and I'm going to share with you a quick forgiveness ritual as well that you can do. One of the core reasons why we're able to get hurt is because we have these emotional needs, okay? We're social creatures. It's like we have inbuilt programming to connect, to bond, to feel a sense of belonging, to feel safe within a tribe, and, you know, to experience love, to feel connection with people. So we have these needs, and when they get hurt, it feels so horrible. It feels horrible to have your core needs not be met. And these needs of safety, belonging, and trust, in our nervous system, they're like water. They are so important. It's like, if I don't feel safe, if I don't feel a sense of belonging, we feel very, very lonely. It's like the old saying that loneliness kills more than cigarettes. And so we have these needs, and that's the first step, is you got to recognize if you're gonna love, you're gonna get hurt, because to attach to someone, to have your needs be filled, means that they can also get unfilled. And that's why when babies are born, they need to attach to their mother. They need to attach to their father. They need to feel that sense of someone cares about me. I'm in a tribe. There's safety. There's connection, there's belonging, and it's especially important as an infant. Obviously, adults don't need it practically as much, but infants absolutely need it. It's a matter of life and death. And so when someone breaks up with us or someone hurts us, it can actually feel like a death of some kind, a death of an identity, a death of like a relationship with a person, a death of a connection. So it can really sting, it can really hurt. Now, so this is basically, I look at this like the evolutionary reason for why we get hurt. It's just because we've evolved, we're social creatures. The second reason we get hurt is actually, it's not evolutionary as much, although it's related, but it's about our childhood, this lifetime, this embodiment. You may have had your parent abandon you. You may have them not be there for you. You may have them criticize you. You may have them have these really high expectations you could never fulfill. But usually it makes you end up feeling abandoned and shame. It makes you feel not enough. It makes you feel lonely or isolated, or like no one cares about you, you know? And these things really hurt. And by the way, things that happen when you're in the womb of your mother still affect you today. Things that happen when you're 1 year old still affect you today. And so, you know, these betrayals, these abandonments, these hurts, they also come from our childhood. And if you want to understand hurt on a deeper level, use hurt as an opportunity to go deeper within yourself. I remember when I got broken up with, which I find it more painful to be broken up with than break up with somebody, although it can still hurt when you break up with somebody. What happened was I was crying so much. I was crying profusely. There was this one day I was just crying constantly. I was crying and crying and crying. I was so hurt. And what ended up happening was I had this memory flash up when I was laying on my back in a baby's crib at my childhood house when I was 2 years old. And I was just laying on my back crying. And I was like, holy shit, that cry when I was 2 years old is the same cry that's happening right now. And I realized that this breakup really just triggered this abandonment wound that I had when I was lying in this crib all by myself, where I needed someone and nobody was there. And it felt the same. And that's actually a form of memory. So I learned this from the book Trauma and Memory by Dr. Peter Levine, where he talks about the difference between implicit and explicit memory. And basically that these feelings that come up, it's actually a form of memory. Your body body's remembering and re-experiencing some pain from the past. And that's why we can get hurt, is because mom wasn't there when you were really young. When this woman breaks up with you, it can trigger the same pain like when mom wasn't there for you. And so one of the gifts of being hurt actually is to have a chance to heal some of these wounds that we've incurred in our life. But that's just the second reason that we get hurt. You know, someone who grew up with horrible parents, let's just say, or no parents, is going to have probably a different experience than someone who grew up with a safe, loving household when they have a breakup. A person that had a safe, loving household, they're going to feel a bit more secure in the breakup probably. It's still going to hurt, but they're going to feel like they can get over it. They're going to maybe not feel so abandoned or betrayed. They're going to feel okay because they grew up with a secure form of attachment. But someone who grew up with a very insecure form of attachment, they may feel a hell of a lot more pain just because the abandonment wounds that they've experienced in their life go so deep. They attach so much more to you because on some level they may have felt like they needed you to survive. And that's called codependency, and that's not a good thing, but I'm just trying to paint the picture of how childhood wounding, two different households, two different children can have a very different experience of the same breakup just because of the difference in conditioning. So you want to start to take a look at how am I perceiving my ex or this person that hurt me? And am I telling a story about them similar to a painful story I've been telling about my mom or my dad or someone else in my life? Okay, now the third thing that I want you guys to focus on is really that this hurt, it's really just the shadow of attachment. If you don't care, if you don't attach, if you don't open that heart, you can't get hurt. And the beautiful thing is that hurt then can become a celebration because you fucking did it, baby. You opened your heart, you lived fully, and that's what happens. You open, you attach like that. Now if they die or they break up with you, they betray you, it's gonna hurt. And that's kind of the beauty of it. You kind of just give yourself to this person, you surrender, and it's scary. And you know what? We're gonna get hurt again. You're gonna get hurt again. But that's part of being in this process of being in relationship, because you don't just get the hurt, but you also get the juice of life, this sense of connection, this sense of love, the sense of trust, this deep oneness you can feel with a person is so beautiful. And really that's why it's worth it, right? Why would we get into it if it wasn't worth it? It doesn't just fill our needs, it also takes us to a whole other level of contribution, of love, a spiritual love perhaps, that's beyond what you could even imagine. And so we kind of just have to recognize that the shadow of attaching that deeply to someone is going to be hurt. There's nothing you can do about it because we have these needs that are, we've attached with them biochemically, psychologically, spiritually. And so now it's like you have that connection. Now that connection's no longer there, it's like, fuck, there's all these patterns that are now confused as fuck. Like, what's happening? Where are they? And we have to reground into our own being, reground into our life, find new meaning in our life, reconnect to the other parts of our life, find connection in other areas of life even. So it's this whole beautiful process. And actually, I should say, and I'll kind of get into these now. These are all the gifts, a few of the gifts, by the way, that you get from hurt. But especially for men, the time when I was broken up with and was hurt, that was some of the deepest spiritual growth of my life. And the reason is really because it cracks you open to such a deep level. And I'll start here. It gives you a sense of presence that is just profound because there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It's just your fucking pain, you and your fucking pain. And it kind of melts away a lot of the psychological bullshit that we've occupied ourselves with over the course of our lives. And it just gives us a raw, real experience, even though it's a painful one. And it actually can dissolve some of our mental, emotional patterns and help us experience more presence, which is really beautiful. And there's a famous quote by the poet Rumi that goes like this. He says, "The wound is where the light enters." And I remember seeing that quote and relating with it because these pains, they crack your heart open, but through that crack, the light that is you, the consciousness that is you, shines through. And I've found that quote to be very true in my life. I've found there's this light of consciousness that can come in through pain. So that's one of the gifts. Another one of the gifts is clarity. Clarity of vision. You may have your heart broken, but it can fix your vision on what really matters to you, because it's often after a death of a loved one or a breakup or something that happens that gets us to pause and be like, what do I want my life to be about? What do I really want my life to be about? Do I want it to be about all this other, maybe ego-driven stuff I've identified with the pursuit of success is the number one thing? Or am I in a place now where, I want to focus more on family, focus more on purpose, focus more on giving my gifts and exploring myself? It can really help fix what's most important to us ultimately. And that's one of the gifts. And then the last gift is it helps build your fucking capacity, baby. Because when you go through these pains, it's really training for life. It's training your mental and emotional fucking muscle. And this is extremely important. Why? Because more pain is going to happen in life. Sorry to tell you. It may come through relationship, it may not, but what's going to happen is there's going to be more sensation in your body that you don't want to be there. It's going to be painful, it's going to be intense, and you're going to feel it in all different places. And these breakups, they give you the chance to build your capacity. And that's really, one of the core gifts. So there's these 3 core gifts and these few reasons why, but I'm going to give you the final, just boom, the final thing that I believe we all really need to hear. And what that is, out of all the gifts, there's one thing that you find, one little gift that you find going through the breakup process or going through the process of being hurt by someone or betrayed, and what you find is you. You are the one you've been looking for. You are the one that you've always been looking for. And the beautiful thing about these breakups is that it helps you find yourself, helps you to get to know yourself, and helps you to connect with a deeper essence identity, Eckhart Tolle calls it, rather than just the physical identity. So hope this is inspiring. Do not give up if you're in this place, because it's truly transformational what can happen through hurt. Hurt can refine us, not define us, okay? So without further ado now, we're gonna go into a simple forgiveness exercise that you can do if you've been hurt by someone close to you. Here you go. As much as things can hurt, there is a whole bunch of extra hurt that we do to ourselves. And that extra hurt is holding on to things longer than is needed. You know, bad things happen. Why hold on to it for another 20 years or even another full year or two? You know, and honestly, my big resistance to saying this, to sharing this forgiveness exercise with you, is really just me being afraid of making somebody feel like their feelings of hurt aren't valid, because I know how valid hurts are. I mean, I've been hurt, you've been hurt, and it's like, fuck, I wish that didn't happen, but it did. It literally did. And that's kind of how you know it was supposed to happen, is because it did. It did. And you can't really argue with it. But there are things that you can do, like go through this awesome forgiveness process. This is an awesome forgiveness process right here. It's so awesome. Well, I hope it's awesome. It's worked for me, and I actually combined two different practices into one. I've done them both separately, but I'm actually combining them into one for the most powerful forgiveness experience ever! Okay, so here's how it works. You know, when we have something that we want to forgive, usually it's a certain memory or a certain moment and certain feelings linked to a specific person. And so we're gonna basically start this forgiveness process. And by the way, this is my great drawing right here. This is me. I'm bald, and I have a massive mouth with like spit coming out of it. And this is like my inner demon right here. This is my inner demon who's just constantly reminding me of the horrible things that happened in the past, constantly telling me how righteous I am to be angry at somebody else, and just generally just horrible, negative. And then what this process is gonna do is it's gonna help this little demon inside, this little demon here, this little demon, it's gonna help him release the perceived threat that he sees, because these hurts happen, and it's like, oh my God, fuck, that hurt. And then your brain, this guy right here, he says there's a threat. This little demon here perceives a threat now, and is now constantly reminding you of that threat. It perceived it once, but it doesn't just let you know about it once, does it? It keeps reminding you of that threat again and again, and it's actually looking now into the future. Like when you think about a future decision, should I do this or not, in say 1 year from now, your brain, this little demon will actually come in and will actually say, well, is it anything like the past experience when I got hurt? Because if it is, we're not fucking doing that. And you start to live this avoidance-based life. Because you didn't forgive this person and yourself perhaps, you're kind of avoiding that same hurt because you haven't let it go. You've just stored that hurt in your body. And you keep replaying it and replaying it, as opposed to forgiving, learning how to let go, and learning how to work with this, you know, little demon here. So let's get into the forgiveness process, shall we? Let's just dive right in. The first thing you want to do is you want to pick a specific memory or person, likely both, depending on the situation and depending on how much forgiveness work you've already done. You may want to start small and just pick something that's just kind of bothered you, that you just kind of haven't let go. Don't necessarily go to like the biggest, most intense, painful thing in your life if you're new to doing emotional healing work, okay? But pick a memory or a person, and then what I want you to do is you're gonna close your eyes down now, you're gonna get into a relaxed state. Comment below, by the way, if you want me to make a guided forgiveness meditation. I could potentially put this into a meditation if there's interest, so just comment below if you want that. Now, the second thing you want to do is once you have this particular person or memory, there's going to be a certain color associated with it. So once you see the image of this person, this memory, notice what's the first color that's present here. Is it red? Is it red? Is it black? Is it gray? Is it green? Is it blue? What color is this particular, what's the flavor of this memory to you? Now, you guys are going to have different colors individually between you all, because you all have just certain associations with different colors, and for whatever reason, the unconscious mind places certain colors with these images. So just notice what's the general color of this, and then see the color overlaid on top of this image, and then see cords attached to your body, from your body to the memory that you have in that color. So very simply, you have this certain memory, this certain person, they're in this color that they represent, and there's cords attached from that image to you, connecting to you, okay? And you just sit there for a moment and you allow yourself to feel the hurt. And I think it's important to be able to feel the hurt, because it actually honors, I've been kind of shitting on this demon, but it actually honors the little demon in there. It honors the pain that it felt, and it doesn't avoid it. Because when you try to avoid the pain, it's almost like avoiding a truthful felt experience. Even though it's a perceived threat, it's still good to acknowledge the reality of the feeling, the reality of the felt sense. Because we could say all day, this is kind of what spiritual bypassing vibes is. It's just basically saying, well, we're all just love and light, and nothing can be absolutely true, which is true. If you do Byron Katie's inquiry work, you can always question yourself, like, is it really true that they hurt you? And you could question yourself and say no, because you're just a soul who's untouchable, who can't be hurt. To me, is very important to do. However, it is important to feel the hurt and let the body process that feeling, right? Because the body's storing all of these emotions and survival responses, literally storing it in the body. And so if you want to start to liberate this energy from the body, you want to start to feel your body more. And you want to start to learn to feel discomfort and let it pass through you. And it starts to actually get liberated from your body or transmuted. This is the law of transmutation. One of the universal laws of transformation is the law of transmutation, where at once a hurt through a forgiveness process can actually become gratitude or love. I've had it where I was so fucking angry at a person, and then I had this amazing forgiveness and compassion moment for them, for me, and I was in ecstasy. I was like rolling around. I remember I was like a dog. I was like rolling around on my bed in total ecstasy because I had transmuted the energy. So after you go through these first few steps and you felt the hurt for say a minute or two, doesn't have to be really long, but just a minute or two, just touch into it, breathe, handle it, allow it to release, allow it to be there. You're not pushing it away. You're just maybe even holding it with compassion. I understand you were hurt, right? Feel some love towards it, but don't go into the whole like anger cycle and like, fuck them, they should have done that, right? Just feel it, just be in your body. Not thinky, just feely. Just feel it. Number 4 is imagine the color turn to bright white and release the cords, okay? And you're gonna say a little affirmation I'm gonna give you. So you basically have these cords connected. I want you to imagine turning this image now into a bright white light or some color that represents love to you. So you see this image turn into this bright light or this color. And I want you to, when this happens, if you can just open yourself to this level of trust and compassion, is have compassion for the other person for why they acted this way. You know the old saying, hurt people hurt people? See if you can just have some compassion for why they acted this way, why they did this certain thing, and see if you can also recognize your own part. It takes two to tango always. There's always two people in the dynamic. And so see if you can just own or acknowledge some of the ways that you've contributed to the suffering that you've experienced. And see if you can just see this with a whole new lens of truth and love. And you see it like that, and you're just kind of willing to let go because you're tired of being this guy here who's just always has this hurt. You're like, fuck this. I've done this long enough. I don't need to vibrate at this frequency anymore. I want to change it. Okay, so then you basically imagine the color turning bright white, and then you release the cords. Just imagine these cords. You can imagine them getting cut. You can imagine this relaxing and falling away from you. And imagine the whole memory just moving away from you, no longer attached to you. The cords dissolve. The memory is now this bright white thing, and maybe you make this memory smaller and it kind of just floats away. As you do this, you can say, I release you. Thank you. I'm now cutting my tie with you. Or something like that. I now release all attachments to you. Whatever it is you want to say. But just very simply, I release you. Thank you for this experience. Thank you for what it taught me. I'm now cutting this tie. All the best to you. And then you just basically let it go, and it's a mental emotional release. The other person doesn't have to be there. You can have conversations with people just to clear things, but this is about clearing things inside of you. Now, don't be surprised if you start to feel extremely light and relaxed after this. Okay, don't be surprised if you feel that. And don't be surprised if this person actually reaches out to you randomly or some good thing happens to you randomly because you've released this energy from your body. I got this analogy from Preston Smiles, who's a coach who I follow and like a lot. He talks about this when it comes to abundance, but he really talks about just this life force flowing through us all, and how holding on to these resentments, it's almost like it's like a water hose, and there's like a kink in the hose. And that's what these things are like. And when you release it, when you forgive, you let that energy flow through you again. And you're more free, you're more aligned, and you're attracting more like situations. You're being more of yourself, and you've empowered yourself again. You've taken back your energy. You stop giving this person so much power over you. You let them go, you release them with love, and you just come back to enjoying this moment and having it go on to the next. So simple enough. These are your steps. Give this a try, follow it, and let me know if it works for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's gonna help you overcome some heartbreak. I hope it's gonna help you overcome some pain that you might have been carrying. And just a reminder, friends, love, enjoyment of life, purpose, all of these things are here in the present moment. And when we do things like this, we use our mind as opposed to our mind using us. Let's go, baby. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you.